Ukraine is being reported as losing key support from its Western allies as fears grow over Russia's alleged nuclear retaliation, raising questions about whether the war is entering a more dangerous phase. Zelensky faces criticism over comments linked to college students, while a close Putin aide reportedly issues a chilling nuclear warning that further escalates global tensions.
The criminal regime in Kyiv sent drones to attack defenseless children. 21 children were killed, most of them girls. This is a crime against humanity. All this could lead to us using weapons that leave no trace of anyone. We must not let it come to that.
Are international partners truly withdrawing their visible support for Kyiv and leaving President Zelensky to navigate increasingly solitary diplomatic and military waters? While the capital itself looks more like a vessel taking on water as it braces for what could be a decisive and devastating offensive from President Putin that would reshape the conflict's trajectory. In the face of escalating nuclear rhetoric and strategic brinkmanship, does NATO really intend to press forward with redeploying some 60,000 troops closer to Russia's borders, risking a dangerous escalation even as leaders weigh the potential for miscalculation and the long-term consequences for regional and global security? President Trump reacting to perceived setbacks in NATO's posture by urgently ordering the withdrawal of jets, destroyers, and submarines, accelerating a strategic pullback that could undermine Allied cohesion and alter the balance of deterrence at a fraught moment? Ukraine appears to be losing allies as 9 nations have pulled out of the ammunition coalition, signaling a worrying contraction in the international effort to supply critical munitions at a moment when Kyiv most needs sustained support. President Pavel says support for the Czech-led ammunition initiative has dropped, according to the Financial Times, highlighting a high-level acknowledgement that political will and funding for the program are ebbing even as battlefield demands remain urgent. Almost half of the backers have withdrawn their support for Ukraine under the initiative, a retreat that undermines the coalition's capacity to replenish stocks and sustain operations, and raises hard questions about how Kyiv will cope with shrinking external supplies. Petr Pavel, president of the Czech Republic, said, and I quote, "But the new difficulty is that only about 9 member states are contributing financially. This initiative has been delivering up to 50% of all large-caliber ammunition to the Ukrainians, so in this sense it cannot be replaced easily by anything else," unquote. Remember, the Czech-led initiative was aimed at supplying Kyiv with millions of shells, a large-scale effort designed to shore up Ukraine's artillery stocks and sustain prolonged defensive and offensive operations on the battlefield. The Czech Republic has delivered more than 3 million artillery shells under the initiative, a substantial contribution that has materially bolstered Kyiv's firepower and demonstrated Prague's central role in coordinating munition support. The Czech president seeks to discuss the coalition at the NATO summit in Ankara in July, hoping to rally remaining members, rebuild momentum for the program, and secure commitments that could prevent further erosion of the initiative's capabilities. Michal Stranad, owner and chief executive of CSG, said, and I quote, "Some of the donating countries basically said that they are not interested in financing it, the initiative, anymore. So they buy directly from us or from some other suppliers. The initiative is not dead, it's still working, but it's a bit slow," unquote. Russia appears to have intensified revenge calls after Ukraine attacked a college in Luhansk, with hardline voices and state-aligned commentators ratcheting up demands for a strong and retaliatory response that they say must not go unanswered. The State Duma chair warned that Ukraine's college attack could result in untold consequences, issuing a stark admonition that such strikes may provoke a severe and unpredictable reaction with far-reaching political, military, and humanitarian fallout.
The criminal regime in Kyiv sent drones to attack defenseless children. 21 children were killed, most of them girls. This is a crime against humanity. There is no statute of limitations on such crimes. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and his henchmen bear responsibility for this. Those who fire missiles and drones at children, the elderly and women are scum. Our response must be severe. For our part, we must urge as many MPs in European countries as possible, those who have even a shred of conscience left, to stop aiding terrorists and to do everything in their power to ensure that those who gave the orders, those who directed the drones to the college, are brought to justice. This is a question for those American companies that allow the Kyiv regime to use their satellite constellation. Elon Musk himself must understand that his satellites are being used to kill children. His respectable image is completely at odds with what is actually happening. All this could lead to us using weapons that leave no trace of anyone. We must not let it come to that. Let us honor the memory of the children.
NATO is planning a new command structure to speed up troop deployment to Latvia and Estonia, a reorganization intended to reduce delays and improve coordination so Allied forces can move faster to these frontline states if tensions escalate. The plan is aimed at bolstering allies in the event of a war with Russia, United 24 media reports, reflecting NATO's effort to reassure Baltic members by creating clearer, faster pathways for reinforcements during a high-intensity crisis. The German-Netherlands Corps is set to take charge of defense operations for the two Baltic states, providing a dedicated, regionally focused headquarters with the experience and logistics to coordinate multinational forces on short notice. The setup would help NATO bring in mass at speed to the vulnerable region, officials say, enabling the alliance to concentrate substantial combat power quickly where it is most needed and thereby strengthen deterrence against potential aggression. An army corps typically commands 3 divisions, or about 40,000 to 60,000 troops, giving a sense of the scale of forces that such a command could coordinate and the operational weight it would represent in defense planning. The move would split responsibilities currently being handled by a single multinational headquarters, decentralizing command to create clearer lines of authority and faster decision-making during crisis response. Germany and the Netherlands are now working with NATO and partners to build up assigned forces, coordinating training, logistics, and prepositioning so the Corps can reach operational readiness and execute rapid deployments when called upon. It is still uncertain when the new plan will take effect or how many troops will be deployed, leaving key details pending as alliance leaders finalize command arrangements, force contributions, and timelines. The US has told NATO allies it plans to gradually reduce US military capabilities, signaling a deliberate shift in American force posture that would require partners to adapt to a smaller and more selective US contribution over time. Reports say the cuts would hit strategic bombers, fighter jets, drones, destroyers, and submarines, targeting a wide swath of high-end platforms whose reduced availability could reshape alliance deterrence and operational planning. Under the plan, the US fighter jet contribution to NATO would be reduced by about 1/3, a substantial decrease that would force allies to reassess air defense coverage, coalition surge capacity, and burden-sharing arrangements. The US Navy would also make fewer destroyers available, Politico reported on May 26, a move that could limit Allied access to critical surface combatant capabilities for air defense, escort, and maritime strike missions. Similarly, submarines would no longer be assigned to NATO under the new model, according to reports, removing a stealthy and strategically important undersea deterrent from routine Allied force packages. Europe would be expected to cover more of its own reconnaissance and defense requirements, taking on expanded responsibilities for intelligence collection, surveillance, and direct military missions closer to the continent. The move fits a broader US push to force European allies to take greater responsibility, reflecting Washington's strategic aim to rebalance transatlantic defense burdens and prompt higher defense spending and capability development in Europe. A NATO spokesperson has acknowledged the alliance's over-reliance on the United States, admitting publicly that members must diversify capabilities and deepen collaboration if the alliance is to maintain credible collective defense with reduced US support.